I'm very happy to be joined here today by author Lindsay Flanagan to talk about her new book, AnnaGrey and the Constellation. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Now, Anna Gray and the Constellation is, when I was reading up about it, it's this fantasy adventure following this young girl on a journey to discover who she is and her past. And
Yeah.
along the way, she has to make a deal with the king to bring his son back. And it seems like there's a lot of different fantasy adventure scenarios in this book. So tell me about this book and the inspiration behind it.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. It is a story about a girl who's trying to find herself. So she's 14 and she can see in the dark, but of course her parents aren't telling her why she can see in the dark. And so she goes to the wildwood because it's forbidden. And what else do you do when you're a teenager trying to get answers, right? And she meets this creature, magical horse creature who, yes, she looks like a unicorn, except she has antlers. She's actually a creation of, I'm sure there are antlered horses in all sorts of myths and stuff, but I made her my own. Um, I named her an Aobanic, so she can turn into a human, or she's supposed to be able to turn into a human. And so she says, hey, help me find my human form and I'll help you find, where why you can see in the dark. And I know people like you. And so they go on this adventure together. Get caught up in this war for the true heir to the throne. And there's a lot of fun scenes with, friendships and battles, and so it was a really fun thing to write. You asked about the inspiration. So um, I think it kind of came from two different places. The first thing is that I have a lot of long distance best friends, as we do in this day and age. And my friend and I were, it was about almost 10 years ago now, we were messaging back and forth, and I would always send her these stickers of these funny little unicorns, and it's called Ulysses S. Unicorn. So find it on Facebook Messenger. Um, and I would always send those to her, and she'd be like, "Oh, I love this unicorn. You should write a story about a unicorn." I was like, "All right, challenge accepted." So I started thinking of ways that I could write a story about a unicorn. And then my daughter at the time, my oldest daughter at the time was 6, or she was 5. And she came home from kindergarten and she was like, Mom, this boy said I was weird. And I was like, oh, no, 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 that's not going to happen. So in a way to show her that weird, or what makes you different, is actually what makes you super special. And like you can find so much power in what makes you different. So that's how I got the idea to start writing this story. And I decided that she needed to be a little bit different than a unicorn. I wanted to make her something really more mine. And so I love languages, and I started like researching different words for unicorn in different languages. And it actually comes from the Irish Gaelic word, and which I cannot pronounce, but I know it starts with AEO. So that's how I got it. And then I just kind of created it on my own. So I'm a big Tolkien fan, and I love how language can feed into a story, and how, um, yeah. So there it is. It's a long story for the story.
It sounds fantastic and very interesting. And when you have a fantasy book or world, you can really create anything you want in it
Yeah.
and, make it your own. Like you said, you took a Gaelic word and kind of made it your own into this creature that, could exist in mythology somewhere. But you made it your own and made it a lot more unique as well, which is fantastic. Now, with this book, what would you say that the age demographic would be for those who may be interested? Of course, anybody can read anything, but what
Yeah.
what was your focus on the demographic when you were writing this book?
I definitely was writing it for my daughters. I have 2 daughters, who are now 9 and 14, and I think that's actually the perfect range for it. My 9-year-old is reading it. My 14-year-old, who was, 5 at the time I started writing it, she actually grew up with it, all the different stories that I was creating to make this one story. And um, the book, it's actually a trilogy. The second book comes out in August, and the third book comes out the following August. And so readers do get to grow up a little bit with AnnaGrey, and it'll be more, by the end, it's more young adults. This one I like to categorize as upper middle grade, getting you ready for an even bigger and maybe even darker adventure.
Well, you answered my next question on if there's going to be more in this series. So that's perfect. And it's great that this is, fans of it will get to continue on and, like you said, grow with it, which is so, so fantastic. It's like when people were growing up with the Harry Potter books, people really grew up because the times that they were released. So that's awesome for people to be able to grow with this story. Now, finally, where can people buy this book? Where is it available? Can they get it on ebook, Amazon, Indigo, all sorts of things? Where can they find it?
Yeah, so it is available everywhere, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, like anywhere you can find books. There is paperback edition and an ebook edition. And actually on my website, which is authorlindsaykflanagan.com, you can order personalized signed copies of it too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This book sounds absolutely fantastic and a,
Thank you.
a very unique universe as well. So I can't wait to see how the next two books go. So thank
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate it so much.